It's tabletop time. I'm Jazza.
I'm Dave.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Jeremy.
And in this video, we're going to go on an epic saga. For you see, normally role-playing sessions either take place in a one-shot where we can muck around, but really it takes place over a couple of days or whatever, in a universe setting, or a saga which spans 30 chapters and many years. We're going to try and do both. In this video, we're going to try and, in the space of an hour, role-play a huge, epic equivalent of an episodic saga.
This video is sponsored
This video is sponsored by Black Magic, who made our channel come back to life with your amazing camera gear and streaming setup, but also DaVinci Resolve is free, guys, so go check it out. I love DaVinci Resolve. We use it for every channel, every video. It's so good. Jeremy is one of my editors. And you started learning editing in DaVinci Resolve.
It was
Learned
incredible.
in a day.
Learned it in a day.
Yeah, wow.
I had one day.
It's really approachable and it's
colour
free,
grading.
and there's so much professional stuff. But if you're new to editing, there's so much out there to help you, and it is so approachable, and the cut page is like a really condensed version of all the professional stuff. So thank you to DaVinci Resolve and Blackmagic for sponsoring our channel. Go check it out, links in the description. Now let me set the tone of the world. You are all teenagers in the kingdom of Salador, in the land of Palea, in the town... Shut up, Dave!
No, I just was wondering if in the land of Salador we got our direct from brewery beers and wines.
and then paella.
In Salador and
Oh shit!
Salador, and I'm
I'll probably never say the names again.
okay.
But
In the land
you
of
are
Calador.
in the town of Fernin.
Okay.
That one okay?
Fernin.
Okay, cool. So we'll introduce your character shortly, but I'll tell you a little bit about this town. You're a while away from the nearest city, anything you would consider a city. You are all raised very remotely. It's a town of, I'd say, 300 or 400 people, but fairly spread out. And the cluster in the middle, there's just like a couple of dozen families that are fairly well known, and there's some shops and there's some trade and blah blah blah, but it's pretty low key, and it's very much a mix of hunter-gatherer / small commerce / marketplace and some crops and fields and all that stuff. So it's pretty traditional medieval setting in a fantasy world where there are different fey creatures. They're not super common, but there certainly are different races like orcs and elves and dwarves and blah blah blah. They're often quite spread out. You're in a much more human zone, but I'm going to say there's a half elf family in the town. Yeah. They're probably the sort of more the of the mayor's family by relation, and the mayor is someone you know. His name is Bernard. Mayor Bernard, and you three characters, you are all facing, or about to be assigned your trial of adulthood. So you go through sort of a mentorship program. It's the equivalent of their education, where you have a mentor by the name of Madra. And Madra is a very old lady who has seen a lot of the world, and is very careful to make sure you are wise to the ways of justice and peace, but also hasn't much patience for misbehavior. Madra sounds like an old man, I know. Let's overlook this. I'll raise it up a little bit. There we go. I am Madra. Yes. Okay, I haven't narrated in a while. I'm going to get my characters flowing. So... You three, let's introduce yourselves, and I'll also introduce you to one of your friends and companions, and also a little bit more. But we'll go from there. Let's introduce ourselves, shall we?
Certainly.
Let's start off with you, Dave, shall we?
I am Ignatius, and I am a young archer. Ignatius is pale, fair of skin, with a mess of red hair, curly red hair, and Ignatius is fairly unremarkable, aside from the fact that his hands are marred with burn scars, hands and forearms. Ignatius is a renowned archer to the point where he competed in sort of local tier inter-town archery competitions for small prizes, and his particular talents found him conscripted into...
You lose a destiny point for taking too long to explain. We're going through a whole campaign. That's how this is going to work, people. We're going to pick up the pace. We have an hour and a bit.
Cool. I burnt my hands. I burn things. I like fire.
I like it. I like how you're setting the tone. We're going to walk that line. We're going to walk that line between getting immersed. Don't look salty. You'll level up if you play your cards right. By the way, this is all taking place in a very hybridized version of the Cogent roleplay system where there are no skills, but otherwise roles and challenge levels are the same.
It's okay, Dave.
Jen, introduce yourself for your character.
So my name
My
is
antithesis.
Savale. I am a Night Swords woman. Very overconfident. I think I am the best, and I am the best, and no one is better than me at being good with a sword. And yeah, come from a pretty wealthy family. Yeah.
Cool.
You're talking about long-term goals as well.
Long-term, I think we should, we'll go around that
Okay.
after. We'll introduce our characters and then we'll introduce that concept.
Okay.
Jeremy, do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Bart, and
Short for...
Bartholomew.
Cool.
And I am very confident, as I am very well read. And I, sought after being well known, and I would love a statue to be sculpted of me. Yes,
But
that is
it's also
my-
worth clarifying that you are well-read relative to your upbringing.
Oh, yes.
So, I think we've got to pack a real cocky, think they're too big for their boots. And Madra knows that. She has never dealt with such over-eager students in many years. She has raised most people who, in fact, your parents, who all were mentored by Madra. So they know how to, encourage you to walk the line properly. But you're meeting with Madra to be assigned your trial. And something very odd has happened because the day before the trial was supposed to happen, it's usually something very generic, like you go out to get a boar and blah, blah, blah. You go and you feast on the spoils of the boar, but instead things have been derailed a bit. There's been a bit of kerfuffle in the town because a set of goblin clothes and a little bit of blood and stuff has been sort of found in the basement of the inn, along with a baby goblin that seems to have been left. Whether intentionally or not, you don't know. But Madra has gathered you all together at the inn. And she says, you all need... Okay, that's the one.
For your trial, I require you to return this goblin child to its family in the forest. This is your trial, and if you pass it, you'll be deemed worthy of adulthood. Go retrieve the child in the basement without harming it, and make sure peace is held within the village and the nearby goblin tribe.
So, what I'm going to do is, how we're going to play this, we have a lot to get through, so we really need to up the pace here. Hence the... Oh, and we forgot to mention your long-term goals. We should mention that too. So what is Evale's long-term goal?
So mine's just to be a high-ranking commander or knight, so to lead an army or lead a kingdom.
Cool. And Ignatius.
Find the Eternal Flame, whatever that means. I don't have time to explain it.
The Eternal Flame. Well done. He's gonna do this whole session, aren't you? Cheeky boy. He's a cheeky boy. So, what do you do?
What's your turn? Oh,
I've already said
Okay, cool.
earlier, yeah.
What is each of your character's impulse to deal with in this situation? There's a goblin downstairs.
Bart, you surely know how to deal with babies.
Oh, yes. In the books, it is said to nurture them.
Go, nurture them. Let's
go.
Okay.
Pick it up.
I want you all to roll a destiny roll. I am going to
I rolled
average
an
it out
11.
roughly. 8.
Evale rolled an 8.
like a 10.
Bart rolled a 17.
17. So that skews towards the more positive for you. In fact, it so happens that Bart has read a few things about goblins, and it's something that the nearby villages and towns do know a bit about, because there are lots of little pockets of goblin tribes. So you happen to know what sort of tribe this goblin is from when you go downstairs and you see this little cowering, I'd say toddler-esque goblin. Doesn't have a lot of speech. Goblins don't really have a lot of speech, but doesn't have a lot of faculties to fight or be aggressive or anything like that, but he seems a bit like...
So it's Baby Yoda.
Bit of Baby Yoda vibe. Definitely a bit of Baby Yoda vibe. So I'm going to get you to roll a reflex check. I'm going to say Bart, to see if you can grab him in the way that is safe and will contain him, so you can all venture to take him.
Challenge
complete your quest. Yes, challenge level 3.
Are there any like blankets or anything around to
That's
assist me?
You can assist with
yeah.
your perception check. That's just an assist check. So roll your perception. Okay. Is that your perception?
I believe so. Yeah.
You get -3.
This isn't going to work the way you think it's going to work.
It's
just
not.
so you know.
It's not. Yeah.
Because,
I haven't planned
because
this
our
at all.
statistics, like the best stats we're going to have is likely going to be a 50-50. Basically, you're going to need to have
That's
lower
true.
challenge levels for these, like really low challenge levels.
Done. I'm going to say it was challenge level 2.
Yeah.
You get -2 to your roll to contain the goblin. Thanks, Dave. Feel free to call me out on that stuff.
No, it's you've made it up for
We're
one
feeling
session.
our way
There's
through
gonna
it.
be so many things.
We're playtesting right now.
Oh,
Three
You got
successes.
3, so you get 2 negatives. You got 1 success, and I will have said the challenge level would be 2.
Yeah.
So you get a -1 to the challenge level. I think that's if I just sort of
Keep them at like 1,
downscale.
2, and then 3 for really hard for the first stages.
Thanks. Great. The goblin bites you on the arm as you go to pick him up, and he scrambles away. He actually goes to run. I'm going to get you both to make a reflex check, but because it's so unexpected, I'm going to say it is challenge level 3, reflex.
Ignatius scores 2 successes.
Ooh.
That's one.
He weaves through your legs and runs out of the building, and as you clamber upstairs, Madra's looking at you like, this isn't going well to start off with.
Ignatius dashes upstairs and readies an arrow and fires an arrow to catch the trail of clothes behind the baby and like stop it and pin it to the ground. Doing it.
You do. Okay.
Fast play.
All right. Challenge. It's a ranged attack. You got to hit the clothes.
Yep.
Challenge level 4. You're aiming for the clothes, not the child.
Yeah.
If you,
I'm assuming it's in like a big like baby gown that it's like.
It's got some baby gowns. Challenge level 4. He's scampering away,
So you
and
want
you're
it to
shooting.
fail. Okay. Cool.
No, I'm just.
I roll and I score 5 successes.
Yes! Every dice is success. You ride up to the top. You run up to the top, and you fling an arrow from the top story and shoot and peg the child by the
clothes.
foot, the ankle. Like his pants half get pulled down, and he trips over face first in time for your companions to head out and gather up the.
Go collect the child. Go on.
Madra's looking disconcerted, but begrudgingly approving. As you head out, you take the goblin child and off into the direction of the forest that Jeremy knows is its tribe. You head out into the forest, making your way through. You're making a bit of a destiny roll here. You got a 5. Ooh. Something doesn't seem all that good, because you know that there has been a tenuous peace, at best, between the local goblin tribe that this goblin is from and your town. And there are more little traps that you would normally avoid than you would expect. In fact, I'm going to get you all to roll a perception check, which will account for your navigation of the traps.
3 successes.
Challenge level 2.
3 successes for Ignatius.
2 successes for you, Bart.
And 2
2
successes.
successes. So you all navigate quite deftly, led by Ignatius, who's quite reflexive as you navigate through the forest. But across one of the traps, you stumble in the forest across 2 people who seem to be doing the same thing. One of them, his name is Flynn, and the other, his name is Borry.
And we know them from the town.
Yeah, they're actually in your class, and they were assigned the same assignment.
But minus the baby.
Well, to keep peace with the goblin tribe, and they've been a part of this, but I forgot to mention.
Yes, okay.
So,
So they're our friend. You said you were
yeah, they were just sort of chilling out at the back of the class. They were like the cool guys. Borry's a bit of a. He's a little bit gruff. I don't even know what I'm doing here. This is his 3rd trial. He's 21. He's not yet considered an adult. But Flynn is very clever, and in fact, but you know him quite well because he spends as much time in the library as you, where you consider yourself much more interested in the scholarly things. He's a bit of an engineer. He likes piecing together mechanics and structures and stuff like that. So he does a lot of repairs in town, and he's got some of his kits of ropes and this and that. And you come across them as you notice. Everyone roll a perception check. Challenge level 2.
Ignatius scores 2 successes.
1.
Evale scores 3.
Okay. So everyone but Bart notices that Flynn is on the ground trying to undo what seems to be you think might be a trap or some sort of casing. There's like rope and she's somewhat tied up on the ground. There is a girl who looks somewhat green-skinned, quite young, I'd say 15, 16. But you think that they're releasing a goblin that's been caught in a trap. And that worries you because you think that it might turn on you. You sense some aggression. It's very half noticed and you like start to panic. So how do you act?
Flynn! Boris?
You didn't notice.
No?
You failed
What?
the perception check,
Ah!
right?
No, he noticed
noted it.
that it's
I
a
know it's
goblin
them.
child.
Ah. What did we know?
You
I know
both
it's them.
notice
But they're
that it's
free.
a half-orc young girl.
Oh, it's a half-orc young
Yeah.
girl. Okay. So it's not a goblin.
No.
Are we fine with orcs?
You're fine with orcs.
Not
half
goblins,
orcs. You've
though.
got half elves. There's a half orc.
Okay.
You've seen them around, not often,
All
to
right.
be honest.
Go on, Bart. Sorry.
Well, it was a Bori?
Stand back! I don't know if there's another trap nearby, says Flynn.
What? What are you doing? I don't understand.
I'm just letting this... we came across her. I don't know if... This is the oddest trial I've ever heard of even happening. How are you doing holding the thing that we're meant to take back? This is all getting very messy very quickly.
Who is holding?
You think that Flynn is pulling out the last rope, and this half-orc girl that you know is a half-orc girl, you think is a little goblin, stands up. I'm going to get you to roll the destiny roll. Bart gets a 9.
Are we all rolling? Just Bart.
Just Bart.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to say you hold it together, but you feel just by how this initial reaction has gone, as you come to your senses and you realize, okay, no, this isn't a goblin. I know how this all works, but your impression of this person is a little stained, just in your heart.
Yeah.
You just feel like unnerved by what this person comes across.
Who is this and what are they doing?
Flynn says, she says her name is, what was it again? And he looks at her and she goes, Ta na.
Ugh. What?
Ta na.
Ew.
Ta na.
What is it doing here?
I have no idea, says Flynn.
Evale, do you speak orc?
No. I don't think any of us do.
Well,
Destiny roll.
Who?
You hear distant drums.
That's a very good roll.
That was a very
20
good roll.
for podcasters.
Yes. Some drum sound. You're nervous at first, but it was a very good roll, so I'm not going to get you to roll any perception or intelligence. But Bart notices that this is an announcement drum more than any sort of challenge drum from this tribe. You know that they communicate through rhythm much more than language. They sort of smack things, and this is sort of like a bah, 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 bah. It's much more like, we are coming, be ready, but more for like a negotiation. And out of the scrub come these little goblins, one of which looks like an anxious mother goblin. And she looks forward, reaching. She's like, reaching forward for the child.
You got the child? Yeah.
She gratefully takes the child and runs off into the forest, and there are several other goblins, one of which bows on the ground and places a dead rabbit, which has been skinned.
Wow, that was...
He's also wearing a fancy new headdress, happens to be made of rabbit skin, which is quite fetching. So you receive your gift gratefully. Your task has been completed, and there's someone in the group who, upon standing, doesn't seem all that like it was ready to head off with the goblins. You're not sure how connected they are. But one thing you notice, in fact, everyone roll a perception check. This is challenge level, I'm going to say 3 or 4, depends what you get. in terms of what I'll tell you. Ignatius scores.
3 successes.
Okay. This is a hard one.
Three. Sorry,
That's 3
for me.
successes. For Evale. Bart is very concerned with how well he handled the negotiations. So he's done. Like, Bart sort of like turned around and like, yes, well, I did read on tribal negotiation tactics recently.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Ignatius and Evale glance as the goblins head off into the scrub. A fairly large cylindrical structure, semi-emerged in the ground. Sort of looks like a big round rock that's the height of 2 people, full-grown people. But very built around, and you notice around it are built little goblin huts and houses around this sort of giant stone. And that's the goblin tribe. You've seen the goblin tribe, which not many people have been able to be close enough to see. But the tenuous peace, it seems, may be somewhat restored.
What are their houses made of?
Oh, fuck.
I'm going to say sticks and straw.
Okay. Ignatius...
You could destiny roll for what your
Ignatius isn't stupid, but he feels a strong desire to light them on fire, but then he represses the desire.
Okay. Now, as
He's
you're...
like, the goblins are all out of their houses, so this is a good time.
Well, as you're about to head back and turn to the town, turn towards town, Borry and Flynn turn towards you. And Flynn says, we were contacted by, we were given another task of growth. And like, he notices you both see that off in the distance, see that, and he notices the tribe at the same time. He says, I was spoken to by Braxius, the brother of the mayor. He said that as a further trial to adulthood, if we can eradicate the local goblin tribe, we will be richly rewarded. I'm not sure what he was talking about, but he seemed to want to get rid of them for good. Now, you will know Braxius isn't a nice man. His brother is the mayor, and he's a jealous type. But as the man who handles a lot of the ongoings of the town, is much more of the things that go on in the peace that is kept. He's much more like handles the people much more than his brother, who tries to handle the finances and the external negotiations between the village and other trade routes and all this stuff. So you know this is probably not something that the mayor would like. And you know this is certainly something that Madra would not approve of. But there it is, that you've been told by Flynn, who you have grown up with and trust, to be honest, that this is something he was told he should do if he really wants to show his steel, and he presents this to you.
Seems rather bothersome, really.
Ignatius, in a joking teen way, grabs his own crotch and says, I feel like I'm man enough for one day already.
Oh, okay. That did seem a little extreme to me, too,
says Flynn. And as you're about to walk off, he goes, wait, what do we do with this one? And Ta-na stands up, looking very confused, but also quite malnourished, and shocked. She's been there for over a day.
Is she free from the trap?
Yes. She looks at you and goes, Ta-na, pointing at her mouth. Ta-na!
I gesture to the rabbit. Say, come with us, let's eat.
What? You wanted to come with us?
You're holding out the rabbit to her?
No, I'm like gesturing to whoever's holding the rabbit and...
I'll throw the rabbit at her.
Do you offer her the rabbit?
I gestured... Well, you're going to throw it at her.
Sure. I'll throw it at her feet.
She looks disgusted and shocked. She steps back, looks at you like, how could you do this? Like an expression of like shock and repulsion and concern, but you can tell, like, there's a maturity in her eyes. Obviously, she can't communicate. Language is not seemingly her thing. But you could tell she doesn't like the look of an animal looking like that.
Can I roll to see if I know any information about this?
I'm going to say your rolls regarding Tana were so bad from the beginning that no, you can't. Okay. You all head back to town. You're accompanied by a new companion who's
Are we friends with the other boys? Like good friends?
Somewhat.
Past
Flynn,
friends?
you're more familiar with. Borry, who is very sort of... No one really likes Bori.
I'm establishing a team rapport with I already have it. So I'm just saying Ignatius is like the arm over shoulder, like head ruffle, like let's go back to town and friends, kind of like in the clique.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, you get back, and there is calamity in the town all of a sudden. You arrive back to town, and calamity seems to have kicked up. It's very odd. You see some smoke in the middle of town, and you hear some clamoring and a few Wilhelm screams in the distance.
I notch an arrow.
Everyone make a perception check.
Should have made
4 successes.
Yeah.
2 successes.
2.
All right. Ignatius notices dead center of town that Braxius is standing, looking somewhat menacing, somewhat approving of the situation. And you know, due to your perception and your conversations that you've had on the walk back with Flynn, that he seems to have been plotting something of a coup. He doesn't like how his brother has been leading the town, and it seems like he chose a time in which some of the more capable young people in the village were meant to be away, and he was hoping, it seems, to have had them get somewhat distracted or consumed in busyness.
To what scale of violence is occurring?
It's a small town, but there are. It seems like he has, through his various manipulating, and you know he sweet talks people and he bribes and he blackmails people. Like, this is just something people know about Braxius but don't talk about because it will probably get back to him in this small town. That, yeah, he's probably been working on this for a while and has been putting pieces together.
Is it thuggery or outright like murder though?
It's looking like thuggery, but it's heading towards violence. I'm going to make a destiny roll. I'll keep stealing yours.
It's going to very heavily determine what I do, that's all.
Yeah, so destiny roll. Let's see in what direction it's leaning. This is a very important destiny roll. This will determine a lot of future stuff.
Okay.
That was a 1.
6. It is looking like Braxius is gaining the upper hand, and you guys have been gone long enough that there haven't been a lot of capable people. Like, as overconfident as you all are, at the same time, you have been a problem, a thorn in Braxius's side.
Fist fights or more? That's
As you're watching, you see fist fights, quite brutal. There are going to be some broken bones, not death yet.
Okay.
There is really iron fisting this, trying to put people in their place. And the upper hand is gained so much that in everything you can tell, you don't have a lot of people who would fight on your side if you went in and fought up against it.
And can we see Madra?
Madra is weeping. She's wailing at the side of the inn. Her heart is broken for the village that she has seen raised from seedlings of people's upbringing. And but she can't fight. It's Madra. So what do you do?
I'm very
A man
tempted.
approaches you, a soldier, a town soldier. You know him, you've known him all your lives. He's also been prone to being manipulated. And he goes like, Braxius has got this, he's been planning this for a while, and it's time we listen to a true leader. So, what'll it be, lads? You gonna step in? You gonna stay in line, or are you gonna cause any trouble? And he pats his sword.
I nod to Avail and say, have you got him?
I've got him.
And then I go, what's a coup without a leader? And just notch an arrow and shoot it straight at the leader.
Braxius.
Yep.
Way! All right. I'm going to destiny roll for how the circumstances may or may not be favourable to your shot,
Yep, cool.
upon which I'll decide the challenge level.
Not
3!
favourable.
He is far and far away from you. There is clamouring in between, and as soon as you draw your bow, the soldier, Geoff,
Is going to try and intervene.
he's going to try and intervene, and there are a couple of people in between you that have now, you've caught their attention. They were mid-beating up some farmers and whoever who grabbed a torch and pitchfork, but you grab their attention. This is challenge level, I'm going to say 5. It's very, very, very hard.
Make the shot anyway.
5 to succeed.
Okay.
Exactly, to get exactly what you want, challenge level 5.
Ooh.
I'm going to re-roll the ones that bounced out of the thing. So I got 4 successes, and I'll use a destiny to make it 5.
You would have missed. if the breeze that came along when it came along did not blow. And into the heart of Braxius goes your arrow. He falls to his knees, and you turn to Geoff, who looks at you. He says, well, he wasn't that good of a leader anyway. And he looks panicked, and at his comrades, and they hightail it and run.
Oh,
They're gone. They're like, there's no coming back from this. So, congratulations, well done, great shot. You walk into town, a true victor.
Well, the adults are here.
Good shot, sir.
You all return, and there are some more subdued festivities. There has to be festivities. This is a yearly occurrence where people come into adulthood. This is one of the biggest celebrations of the town, but it is highlighted by a somber tone. A couple of people have had their arms broken, and several people have lost their very capable farmhands or employers. There have been a good dozen quite well-connected people who have left town because they were part of instigating this, and there are a few dozen more who have some serious ground to cover in terms of rebuilding relationships and reputations. Braxius is dead, and no one mourns him, so he has been taken off and carted off.
Can we burn him at the pyre?
I'm going to destiny roll and say yes. You can burn him at the pyre. He's part of the festivities.
It's not a rude thing, but a proper funeral. But I'm like, we burn people.
Yes,
I like the
you
fire.
get to burn it.
I like the fire
because you rescued the town. Everyone is brokenhearted. At the end of the day, Mayor Bernard lost his brother. So he's a little wounded that you did that, but he knows why you did. He's a real softy, Mayor Bernard. Really sort of disconnected from reality, but obviously this happened outside his knowing. But anyways, yes, you have your somber festivities. You get to enjoy burning him at the stake, and
no, on a burial mound, not like on the stake. This isn't that
witchcraft.
And 5 years pass. You all level up. You all level up. You all get an extra destiny point, and you all get to spend. I'm going to give you 2 points throughout your characters, but no more than 1 in a single.
Yeah, that's cool.
Element.
I think with a shot like that, I had to put another point in archery.
Yeah, it's obviously useful. So you've all leveled up, and the town has slowly, over the next 5 years, reclaimed its identity as a peaceful village on the brink of collapse, financially absolutely falling apart. And you have slowly, in the next 5 years, seen Mayor Bernard fall apart, his heart broken at having lost his only brother, and also under some quite severe pressure externally, seemingly from a relative who happens to be a lord and his uncle. And he is not meeting the financial demands of the town. So much so that one fateful day, a messenger arrives, an elven messenger by the name of Alicia, arrives and announces that she must meet with the mayor and his chosen compatriots. I'm going to get you all to roll a destiny roll and tell me what your course of pursual, having been retained in the town. 19 for a veil. 18 for Bart.
So this is what we've been up to.
This is how well it goes for your goals. 3 for Ignatius.
Abstract concept. It makes sense.
So Avail and Bart, you have both been given. Avail in particular, you have become now in charge of the town militia. So you have been moving towards your goal of becoming a military person. And Bart, now that you are the right-hand scholar of the mayor, you have access to documents and books from nearby villages and things like that, which is quite helpful. So I'm going to both, on your great rolls, award you... I'm going to give you a commerce point, Jeremy, Bart, and Evail. I'm going to give you a point in your melee combat.
Beautiful.
I like that.
Now,
it's
Ignatius.
so suitable because, I'm looking for the Holy Grail effectively, and it's just like, wow, you're really going to find that staying in your podunk hometown.
Yeah. So, you're all feeling a little too big for this place by this point anyway. But to be honest, you would have left a long time ago if it weren't for the fact that you feel like you had to help because no one was here to help.
Yeah.
And Mayor Bernard had begged you to stay. Some of you had begged to leave. So we gave promotions to the more capable of you and gave Ignatius jobs and connections where possible, but very begrudgingly. There's a part of him that seems genuinely wounded at the fact that you killed his brother and seemed to have a glint of happiness in your eye as you burned him at the stake that he never forgot. So it's
about the fire, not the murder, though. That's the part, that's the part they don't get.
So you have all been gathered together as Alicia has demanded to speak with the relevant people, but she doesn't seem to trust Mayor Bernard. And she says to the group at large, it's all of you, and Flynn is there. And I should say, I'm going to roll for Flynn and...
Worry?
I'm going to roll for Flynn and Tana. Destiny roll for Flynn and Tana, who have both remained in the village.
What about
Flynn?
Big Borry?
Borry. I'll roll for Borry too. So Flynn has been keeping Bart a lot of company. And in fact, you've become quite the power team. Flynn and Bart. Flynn, the engineer, mechanist, who can use a bit of real-world application, and you've realised he can fill in some of your knowledge gaps. And you, the more learned, scholarly type. So that's Flynn. This is Borry, 17. He's your right-hand guardsman. He's really dumb. He is thick as a brick. He passed his journey into manhood though, so he's been allowed to have profession and progress or whatever. And as dumb as he is, if you say tie someone up or if you say go grab that boar, he'll do it. He's more capable of just like dumb as a brick but tough as a brick stuff. Nice. And then Tana.
I'm glad I'm not the only one with failure to thrive.
So Tana rolled 7. So she has meagerly gained some language skills in the interim. She has somewhat attached herself quite a lot to you guys as her rescuers, and is very fond in particular of, I'm going to say, Evale. She looks to you as a protector. She identifies with you as a girl and now woman, and doesn't like Bart, who doesn't like her, and is wary of Ignatius. And I think I'd probably just say men a little bit.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't know if you like her or not. That's up to you. But she slightly hero worships you, Evale.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
She isn't all that skilled. Except that she has shown some proficiency in a bit of nature magic, which has been pretty useful sometimes. A little bit of healing-y, growthy stuff, which is cool. But otherwise, very bad speaking skills and social cues and all that stuff. Cool. So you're in this meeting, and Alicia says, your town has a debt to pay, and you have been chosen as a council to resolve this. It must be done immediately by order of Lord Malthius, your uncle. She nods at Mayor Bernard. He expects to be sent 6 capable souls to pay off the debt with a task that he has required. So he looks at the room at large and she says, I gather you're the capable souls. She sort of scoffs.
Is it nighttime, daytime?
It's afternoon.
Are we inside?
Yes, you're in the mayor's home.
Is it lit by torchlight?
Yes.
Okay. Ignatius, given that I'm going from the kid in small town who he's grown too big for the town, but there was nowhere for him to go, whereas you guys had places to go. He's just so I'm just actually staring at the fireplace and paying basically no attention.
Mayor Bernard looks at you all and says, I know I beg you to stay, but I'm afraid to say I need you to go, because I don't have anyone else to help me pay off this debt, and I've been struggling to keep this town alive. What do you say? And he looks very clearly at 6 people in front of him that he's gathered there. 1, 2, 3. So Bart, Evale, Ignatius, Borry, and Flynn, and Tana, who is included by virtue of having followed Evale everywhere around and actually been pretty useful in the healing department, because Madra has fallen too ill to continue the caretaker role. But she had been assisted by Tana over the last 5 years, who has learnt a little bit of that healing magic from her.
Does that mean she's going to die if she leaves?
No, as in assisted as a caretaker.
Oh, okay.
So where Madra was the healer of the town,
Yeah.
she was a little too feeble to do it all by herself, and she still sort of is, but there's not a lot of people left in the town, and most of the people by this point are pretty healthy anyway, so it's not that much of a problem for Tana to join. So that is it. What it is, because the messenger arrived with a wagon. And you all, I am hoping, agree to get in the wagon.
No, you're the one who makes the decisions,
The
Avail.
capable people you're looking for, you then look no further.
All right.
Yes.
You're okay with that part? Says
Yes,
Flynn.
well, they won't survive without me. I may as well go.
All right. Great. Get in the wagon. Travel goes poorly. It rains the whole time. You all need to burn a destiny point because it required that to simply stay alive. Your rations ran low and it was a 4-month journey. It took, do you know what? I am going to get each of you to roll a strength check or an attack roll. That is your choice. Or a perception. Strength, attack, or perception. You can choose your best, but the challenge level is 4.
I choose my combat. Is this like hunting
So
and gathering?
combat.
Yeah, it's like how you fared.
That's
so this
combat,
is your
right?
combat, your challenge level 4, you fail.
I rolled 3 successes.
Yep.
Magic is combat.
Yes. Yep, you can roll magic.
But you
as
can pick
combat.
whatever the best outcome
Yeah, I think
is
that's
gonna
my
be.
best.
I'm going to roll melee, which is 7 dice.
You succeed with
Nice.
4 successes.
4, yep.
That juicy free point.
Gotta love it.
2.
All right, you fail. So Bart and Ignatius, I'm going to say, have received wounds on the journey. Ignatius, in your attempt to hunt down a deer one afternoon, you
Is it related to how much we failed by?
how
Just if
much
that's
did you
relevant.
fail?
I got 3 successes out of 4.
Yeah, you sprained your leg.
Okay.
So you weren't great at hunting, which is why you're all a bit famished by the time you get to the city. And Bart, how much did you fail by?
I got 2 successes.
Out of 4. I'm going to say you tried to use... What type of magic would you say Bart tends towards learning and using?
Yeah, I was trying to light fire.
Okay, you were trying to light a fire and it backfired.
You got too close.
There was like... You happen to all have also been recently like oiling swords and...
Yeah, so like.
So you're covered in oil,
something.
and as street smart as you are, you forgot to connect the fact that you're working with something flammable, and then I'm going to light a fire with magic. So everyone had to put you out, but you arrive to the
Ignatius
city
did nothing.
with burn marks along your arms
Yep.
and severely dejected.
You look like
Otherwise,
me now.
yeah.
And Ignatius didn't lift a finger to help.
All right.
course not.
I
So
just
you
watched.
arrive to Lord Malthius. He is tall. He dares to wear a crown when no one who would report to the king is looking. But he likes people to know he's in charge. He wears a lot of finery. He's quite large. On the is it King George, the big one? He's on the robust side.
And Lord Malthius expects you to do what he commands, so he doesn't seem very compromising. I expect you to repay your mayor's debts, he says, spitting, by quelling the rebellion in the mines by any means necessary. He gives you the location of the mines, where there has been some kerfuffle. The people, you assume, aren't very happy with their level of treatment and compensation. But Lord Malthius does not care. You will bring back the news of a working force, or no force at all. I don't care. I'm sick of these ingrates. Do what you have to, but pay back that debt.
What do they mine?
Copper.
Okay.
So off to the copper mines you go. Let's condense this one with a destiny roll. What do you all decide you were going to do? We'll keep it like you'll get there and there'll be negotiation-y stuff. So let's give me your what's your goal, your aim?
Is anyone good at
Are they in the
persuading?
mines, or are they in like the camp around the mines?
They're in the mines. You actually have to head
Literally
into the mines where
okay,
they're
cool.
working. There's camps. It's quite deep in there, so they sort of like live in there a bit.
Well, it'd be nice to kind of see their living. Like
It's
how-
awful. It is awful.
Really, really,
it's really bad. It's really unpleasant. You can tell like there's like not a lot of oxygen down here. It's friggin' hot, like really hot, so deep down in the ground, and they're working and sweating all day. They barely get any food. But you get there and they're aggressive because they know you were sent by Lord Malthius, who's uncaring, and they expect you're either going to kill him or force them to work more, and they're not going to work more. So you're going to try and convince them. You're going to
I'm going to let
deal with them.
Ignatius is going to suggest that you guys sort this out, and if your negotiation, assuming you're planning on negotiating, if your negotiations fail, I plan on putting a whole bunch of flammable material down there, lighting it on fire, and having the oxygen eat all the fire eat all the oxygen, and they all just suffocate.
Oh, oof, Ignatius.
That's my backup plan. But I let you guys. I limp along and let you guys.
I reckon we persuade them that something may occur.
Borry goes, yeah, let's persuade him, eh? Oh, wait, no, that's what he wants. No, yeah, you handle the convincing stuff.
I reckon we persuade them that something may occur if they don't.
Tanner goes,
If peace maintained, they will respect man.
Well said.
Yes.
she looks very proud of herself. She always wants peace.
Yeah.
So you head down. Are you gonna go down as the ambassador?
I haven't decided.
Should you
As
roll
a-
off as to whether it's a Vale or Bard?
really
Is this
don't
is this
think
a
it should be me.
military
Is it-
negotiation or scholar
is it-
negotiation? Take your
Well,
pick.
it's.
You have
I
3
kinda-
seconds to decide.
I feel bad for them.
You should do
Do
it.
it.
Okay.
All right, you're doing it, Bart.
It's a quick campaign, so
It's a quick campaign. You're going to roll a persuasion check. Challenge level 4. How many dice do you have?
6.
Yeah.
You could use a destiny point to give yourself an advantage. You haven't been using many, so
it's currently
Yeah.
statistically irrelevant.
So, roll first, yeah.
Up to you.
did you burn one?
Can't-
You didn't say
can
anything.
I?
Did you burn a
Yeah.
destiny? You have to say it before.
Oh,
no, you have
sorry.
to. But you were going to?
Yeah, I was going to.
So that means the
didn't
threes
even
are
look.
successes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You succeeded. Congratulations. So by the skin of your teeth, I think it's just the fact that you're, you go in there roaring with confidence. And what is your tack with negotiation? Give us a bit of a brief overview.
Who am I talking to?
Or you don't
Is
have
the-
to, just like tell me like what you would have gone in and
Oh, well-
said to the very rough gang of miners who are looking unconvincible.
Convinced.
Well, good people, I say, Lord, what's his name? I don't even know now.
Malthius?
Yes, that guy.
You're not here for Lord Malthius.
Oh, well, he
That
told...
bastard could go right in his fucking castle.
Well, he told me to tell you that good things are coming.
Well, he could come here and tell me himself if he's
Well,
man enough to tell us what to
as
do.
long as you keep doing what you have been asked to do, he will be doing that very soon.
So you basically convinced them by lying to them about reward in the future.
That's what you
Oh, well, that sounds promising. All right.
You can. They're expecting compensation. From in their eyes, you have gone down there and convinced them that they will be paid, which they have been. That was what they were bargaining for. So they look begrudging, but they pick up their pickaxes. They get back to work, and you walk away. And Tanner goes, "Well done." And Flynn said, "Well, look, I offered to build a contraption to help their mining do better, but it's still."
No, he didn't.
No, it takes too long.
he did, but he didn't
next
say it
time.
very loud, and no one listens to Flynn because he's.
Too long. Let's
He always
get the bar
has.
rolling.
He has these big ideas of contraptions. They never really work, so
Rube
no one
Goldberg-
actually pays
Rube
attention.
Goldberg machine.
You return to Lord Malthius, who's looking rather impressed. He says, I have received the latest notification that the next shipment of copper will be on time. Well done. The debt of Braxius is... Oh, sorry, the debt of my nephew, Lord Malthius, is repaid. But there is one last debt that will take a bit longer to repay. The death of Braxius, my nephew. I hear that was you, boy.
And he turns on Ignatius.
He was simply working under my command to make sense of that silly little town. And you were all going to pay off the greater debt.
You are captive for the next 5 years. Yes! All right. Do you work in the mines,
No.
in the arenas, in the library, or in the military?
Do we get a choice?
You get it? Well, do you know what?
Or is it together?
Do you know what? Roll a destiny roll. You get to tell me what you want, and then I'll get to tell you what you get.
So we want
working-
before we roll? Or?
Before you roll, tell me what you want.
Library.
You are sent.
It's not
You're
bad
brilliant.
enough to go to the mines.
You work in the library, but it's not the kind of work you wanted. Like it's a 5-year debt you have to. You're captured for 5 years. You are all now in your late 20s, and by the way, you do level up, so you get a destiny point, and you can get 2 skill
You're
points.
gonna do the same thing.
But
as you did
depending on the
last time?
destiny roll, do you know what? You get 1 skill point, Bart. So don't use skill points yet until you make your roll.
Okay.
So you get 1 skill point that you can spend anywhere except for intelligence.
Okay.
Because it is not stimulating librarian work. In fact, you haven't made much progress. You can't spend it in magic or intelligence, but you can spend it elsewhere. You spend it in perception. Great. Okay, Evail, where do you want to serve?
Military.
In the military. You serve in the military.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna
You actually climb in rank. It's you would have picked it. You
fit for the job.
it doesn't feel all that much like servitude. So lucky you. And you've actually got a bit of a reputation, and where previously Lord Malthius was very, very stern and against you all, very biased, especially against the scum in that little off-water village that killed his little precious nephew, it was a bastard. He was a bastard nephew, but it was his nephew. No one has a right to kill his nephew. Ignatius, what do you want?
What's the arena?
Make a destiny roll, and you get -2 on your result, unless it's a 20.
Hey, what's the arena?
It's like a coliseum.
But is it like fighting in it, or is it?
It's like your...
No, I'm arranged. I'm going to go army as well, military. Like
Okay,
a scout
that's
or
what you
something.
want.
Yep.
10 minus 2, 8. You're sent to the arenas. Basically, look, you're all somewhat protected, as you're not like the worst of the creatures or slaves that the people in the city have the bias against. You're more like the pre-show entertainment, but you cop a beating a lot. I'm going to say, Evail, you get 2 skill points to spend, and you can spend them in one place. That is due to your great role and your very decisive direction. Ignatius, you get 1 point to spend, and you have to have a very significant wound in a fairly impactful physical place on your body you should decide very quickly.
I'm going to put the point into something that isn't helpful for me, or I wouldn't use. I'm going to say the point goes in melee, because
Yep.
that makes sense.
It does make sense.
I've been forced to do it.
Yeah. You got 3
A
seconds.
serious injury.
Yeah.
I'm going to...
Visible, like scars.
Oh, scars. So it's not like an
It doesn't have to be
impact
like
me.
loss of limb or anything. It wasn't that bad a roll,
Yeah.
but some disfigurement. Take
I'm
a
going to say that Ignatius lost an ear.
pick. Great.
The full ear.
Perfect.
And now he grows his hair like long so it hides it.
Yeah. You've
'Cause
also
he's
got
ashamed.
reasonable scourge.
Yeah.
But that's the most obvious thing. That you also got the nickname
Eerie.
Noeatius.
No ear.
Noeatius.
Cool.
Sure.
Great.
They're not very clever people they're not the cream of the crop. I'll blame it on that. So, something very significant has... Oh, actually, let me roll through our friends. So, Borry is dead.
What did you roll?
Borry has died. He was
roll
sent
two,
into the mines. He's not... He tried to... But they're very bad working conditions. He got a 2. Borry died somewhere within the last 5 years.
Are we aware of this?
You are, Bart. You will have heard in the news. Evail and Ignatius, you wouldn't have known. But Bart, you will have been notified because part of your job in the library is archive the records and the...
Deaths.
Mostly death.
All right, Flynn! Flynn!
Oh.
Flynn is working in the library. You wish you could work with Flynn. And you have some messaging things with Flynn. You like keep in touch. You like beg for the dregs of like any archival papers that but he's not. There's strict instructions. But he's become the chief architect of the city.
Yeah, so he's done something that's raised him. Like,
yeah, one of his inventions worked, and it was the mine one. But it unfortunately requires a bit of intelligence to man. Borry died manning the machine used in the mines. But Flynn invented it. He's very sad about that. Borry was his good childhood friend, and he mourns every day, and he knows the impact that big machines and weapons. And
did he get buried in a cave-in?
He totally did a Borry. So that's them, and then Tana, 12. She has developed somewhat her language skills. She has worked in the library as well around you, and I'm going to say your bias has still been quite against her, especially because even though you're the smart one, she works closer to the books. She puts the books in the shelves and has figured out her language skills are far more normal now, but she has to put them away, and the numbers and the things have to just match. And sometimes she explains it to you in a way that is a little like she pities you for not understanding enough to be able to do that job. Yeah. So that is where we're at. But something has happened recently. There has been a bit of a battle from the recent town of Faris. The rebellion really picked up, and Lord Malthius's leadership has certainly preceded him as far as his stinky reputation, and he was assassinated by one who was a part of the rebellion. So the city, I should say, that I never said. The city of Arrowmark, which you all know, you've been in Arrowmark for 5 years now, and I definitely should have mentioned earlier. You all are now preparing for war. There is a conscript, is it conscript? Where you all happen to have lucked into the first lucky dip.
You probably are just in there.
Vale is actually managing the conscriptees.
Maybe you picked us back out of our shitty situations.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and you think, I wonder what those guys are up to.
Yeah.
Let's get Borry. Oh.
No more.
Can't get Borry. All right, let's get Bart, Ignatius, Tana, and Flynn. And yeah, you gather them all together because you see this as, I'm assuming, a chance to sort of better their situations a little bit, because you were very fortunately done by. I'm going to roll to see how much power you have in this sort of situation. This is Destiny roll. You got 7. So you can't pull the strings. You're not at the highest tier, but you can pull things together and you can debate, negotiate where you need to. But you're higher up. Captain Regan
has been a military officer for a long time. He sees your talent. He understands you are skilled in battle, but you don't have the leadership or fortitude required to lead an army. So he will take you under his wing and show you in time, but now is not the time. Now is the time for war. So gather what we must to quell this rebellion.
But in the meantime, Bart, you had noticed as you gather with the group that Tana actually never adhered to the call. She never came along with the group. She disappeared as soon as all this happened.
Not the healer.
No, she's gone. So you were all presented to by Captain Regan, filled in amongst 100 other soldiers.
That we, in this battle against Faris, face a more fearsome foe than you might expect. They are a small fledgling town, but they are gathered together with many of the tribes and many of the barbarians. Filth out in the forests and in the trees and caves to try and topple this great city. We will put a stop to this all at once. We will burn this forests and towns.
And as he says that word, burn, Ignatius feels a shiver run down his spine. But it was said on his right side, so he heard it. Fortunately, that's how he felt the shiver.
He's still here without an ear.
Well, but it's a little skew-if,
yeah.
so it was, he caught wind of it easily, which was fortunate. In the meantime, the next evening, where you're all bunked together, actually in a tent and having your reunion, you're approached In the tent, the door sneaks open and there is a very small group of people led by Tana, who says,
It's time to run. We must go join the rebellion. This great city which has treated us all with such disdain and hurt us and hurt the beautiful creatures and the people who work, we can save lives and souls and bring happiness and joy once again. Come, join me. I am the leader of a group known as the Shank, and we have access to the city, and we can topple from the inside.
she looks more fearsome than you remember Tana being capable of. And actually, the group accompanying her, there are 2 people, hooded, and they seem to be wearing some sort of vines and sort of like naturey looking things. She looks at you expectantly.
What will it be, friends?
Does a veil say anything? Military veil?
I say, if I'm in a difficult position, negotiate with
You
my
are in the
companion.
right position. You are in the position to make all the difference.
She whispers pleadingly, tears in her eyes.
I want to talk tactics with her, like how big's her army? What is she going to do? What is her plan? Am I convinced that it's a decent plan, or does it sound like it's going to fail?
It doesn't seem like a impossible plan. By the way, just by opening up your ears to this, you are conspiring. So this is a problem. And Flynn, I'm going to roll for what Flynn does, because he's not interested in this, or it's not too much to your disadvantage. That was a destiny roll of 12. But he storms out. He's insulted that you guys are listening to it. He says, I won't have anything to do with this.
I grab him.
I won't. What do you... No, you try and grab him.
I try and grab him.
You will roll reflex challenge level 3.
When he tries to grab him, I'll step in as well.
I get 5 successes.
Oof.
You grab him.
What are you doing? Let go of me!
Flynn.
What are you doing?
Flynn.
Conspiring.
The city which has given us so much.
So much? It's given you so much. What has it done for the rest of us?
We can pick people up. We can change this. If we recapture and build this, what are we going to do? Start from the trees up? This is ridiculous. You're talking about joining with barbarians.
Are we joining
And
with them?
as he says that, the tears that have been building up in Tana's eyes start falling, and you can tell that she will never forgive him for saying that.
Do you guys look like you're leaning in one way or the other?
I turn to Flynn and say, does Bori's death mean nothing to you?
Bori. Flynn says,
That wasn't the city, that was me, but I've been working on machines, things that can turn the tides. I know they will. These people don't stand a chance.
You either choose to rebuild or you side with the city.
I side with the city. I have built this city ready for a great new age. We are that new age.
Then it loses a fantastic inventor, and I slit his throat. Unless someone
whoa! Shit!
just dagger out.
Okay, I'm destiny
not
rolling,
expecting that.
so you will definitely succeed in
Yep.
slitting his throat in the middle of the
If
night.
no one
You've
stops
already
me.
grabbed him.
If no one stops me.
Well,
No.
they wouldn't be able to stop you if that's what
So
you
he
decide
chose to
to
side
do.
with the city
So
and
destiny roll, how that goes, 6. I'll play that out later.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, it seems like you have chosen your alliance.
And I look back at you. I'm assuming you're looking shocked. If he opened his mouth, we're all dead.
This is
Tana
true.
looks at you. You've won her over.
Mm-hmm.
She nods, says, All right. Is it all of us then? Shall we escape into the night?
Put my hand out and do it.
No, Tana.
3 musketeers.
It is all of you. I have fires to light.
That is one of the things I wanted to tell you. But I needed to make sure you were all on my side. Now it seems clear that you are. We have a dragon.
So,
Oh, by the way, Ignatius seems like
if
being
we
in the
attack
arena
from without-
cracked him.
If we attack from without and within, we can topple this city, and it will be the land of the people, of the creatures, of nature, of us.
Let's see it burn then.
So who wants to head out into the wilderness with the barbarians and the tribes and the town folk? And who wants to hold up in the city? Because the only defense against the dragons are the machines that Flynn has built.
I want to burn them all.
So you're staying...
I'll stay and burn.
You're staying...
Sabotage.
You're staying to sabotage. What do you do?
Stay to keep the coup.
Yvail stays to keep the coup, but...
No, I can't go with them. I don't really like her too much. It's like,
I mean, we're playing a whole campaign.
Yeah.
People evolve. You can decide.
Yeah.
That was a tainted,
Yeah,
like,
more useful there.
you know, you didn't like her through the library, but she's shown her mettle.
The hand has
And
been
it
played.
more depends on, I'm going to say, make your decision based on where your allegiance to the plan would be.
yeah, I feel like I'd be more useful in the city.
Okay.
I'm going to change. I'm actually going to go with her and help her lead them to victory.
Okay. So we
She's
veil.
a captain.
Oh, and Tana's like, yes, I knew you would come. We need a leader. She says to Avail.
And that prick said you weren't good enough to lead yet.
I'll show him.
We have an army ready
Aren't
for
you
your command.
overconfident?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
I can lead an army to
got
victory.
this.
Fuck you.
So you all leave the camp. Two of you in the direction of the castle, where you are going to have to infiltrate to the inner sanctums to break it all apart. Meanwhile, Yvail and Tana head out to the forest and the barbarian tribes. Let's roll for how this next endeavor is going to go. Destiny roll. I'm going to get you each to do a destiny roll. Let's start off with Bart and Ignatius. I'm going to get you to both roll at the same time. And Ignatius, I'm going to look disfavorably upon it because you didn't get a great roll in the slitting throat moment. So we'll see how that goes. So
3, 2, 1.
19.
Ooh, that was almost a 1, man. That was almost
That was
a 1.
a 19.
That was a 19.
And a 14. That's a pretty damn good roll.
As you were heading out of your tent, you come across one of the more weak-minded, nervous combatants who'd come to ask for directions to somewhere because the captain was in there, and Yvail and Tana had already left. So meanwhile, Ignatius and Bart had been figuring out where to enter into the castle, and Ignatius obviously knows a bit more about that. And as you go to leave, there's a corpse on the floor, and there's a stammering person who's... You turn around, is just like at the tent door. What do you decide your characters would do in that situation?
If I want to lead to the infiltration goes really well, but you want it to be darker or disfavorable, then I'm just going to say...
It's favourable, so I just want to know what you decide to do in this moment.
If he looks like he's going to squeal, I kill him instantly. If
kill-
he looks like we can completely make him
All
do
right,
our
roll a
bidding,
perception check.
if he looks like we can bend him, then I'll bend him.
Perception check, challenge level 3.
2 successes. I'll spend a destiny. Make
Spend a
it 3.
destiny point. Okay.
That's what they're for. 3 successes.
Urine was flowing down his legs, and he looked like he would have squealed then and there if you didn't put your hand right over his mouth and promise him to live if he just leave and join the tribes. But you know...
Or lead us
that
into the castle or whatever.
Oh.
Whatever's going to be more
Yes,
useful. Yeah.
that one, because you rolled well for infiltration, and this happens to be the guy who's asking for directions in the camp because he was conscripted and doesn't know all that stuff, but he's a bit of a noble person. So he shows you through the more noble area of the thing and leads you into the castle. And you know you're heading towards the engineering sanctum where machines have been built. And in fact, Bart, you will have caught wind of this because you will have seen Flynn archive them, and he will have told you excitedly about some plans when he was able to, which was not often. In the meanwhile, we cut to Yvail and Tana. Let's roll. Oh, wait. Yeah, let's roll. I'll roll to see what army you've got to work with. It's ragtag group. I rolled a 9.
Totally average.
much more barbarians and forest robbers and people who have been forced to be rough and tumble. Some townspeople, some random fey creatures and all this stuff. But there is a dragon, not a big dragon, sort of a not too recently hatched dragon. But it turns out that big domed shape that was in the forest was the egg of the dragon. And you had to travel
we didn't
out.
burn down the goblins.
Yeah, well, luckily, you're traveling on horseback, and it was much more like, in your caravan, and you head directly there. It does take, I'm going to say a week. In the meantime, Ignatius and Bart will have had to be reasonably in hiding to try and worm their way in, but also find the right time to strike, because it has to be on the precipice of battle. Otherwise, there's time to re-prepare. So you've got your army, and there is a small dragon. Do you want to lead the army or ride the dragon?
I'm riding a fucking dragon.
You ride the dragon. Wait, I'm going to roll off with you because Tana wants the same thing, but
She's gonna have to work for it.
yeah. All right, roll. She got 2, you got 5. You get the dragon.
Hell yeah.
So, but Tana did sort of help.
Raise it? Or?
I wouldn't say help raise it because she was sort of trapped in the castle or whatever, but she had been secretly conspiring with these tribes and helping them and teaching some of her nature magic and stuff to help them understand how to feed and help this dragon live and communicate with it. She gets there, meets the dragon for the first time, but it's like they're kindred spirits, and she introduces you and they both learn with the dragon how to ride it. I'm going to destiny roll how rideable the dragon is and how well at riding dragons Evael does. 11. You're going to have to make a strength check every time you maneuver the dragon, but this is all going to happen very fast and very rough.
I love that you're like, I'm going to command the army.
Everyone levels up. You get 1 destiny point, and you get 1 skill point to spend anywhere you want. Now, Ignatius and Bart, and Thelmir. And Thelmir. Yes. So he's shown you into the noble quarters. He's actually given you his room, which he's stayed out of, and he's been sort of liaising with you secretly, trying to help find the right time to strike. He's given you a couple of keys to the place. I'm going to roll. In fact, do you know what? Infiltration is intelligence. You're going to both have to make an intelligence check. Actually, no. One of you makes an intelligence check. The other can assist if they want.
Can you do the smarts and me do the sneaks? Like,
Smarts first, sneak second.
okay. I don't want to do the smarts. I'm letting you lead the way.
Challenge level 3.
Yes.
Oh, well done.
Critically
Wicked
succeed.
success.
5
You know
successes.
exactly the time to strike, and it's not even going to have to be all that sneaky now. So you roll your sneak check, but it's challenge level 2.
What sneakies?
It will be reflex.
That's what I wanted. I get 4 successes.
Smashed it. You enter the room full of catapults and what are those ballista arrow
yep.
things? There's like 10 of each in a room lit by torchlight.
Is it now the time of the
Unmanned
battle?
except for one man that walked off to change guard, and there's someone who's probably going to be back in 5 minutes, which your actions were timed perfectly. But at the other end of the room, the other entrance and exit, there is a man who turns to you and says, "Hey, are you not Gav?"
He gets an arrow.
Go for it. He's at the end of a long room, and I'm going to say it's your check against his check. We'll see how this goes.
Guard?
I'm going to destiny roll to see how difficult this is. Challenge, 5 for the destiny roll, so that's difficult for you. So challenge level, I'm going to say 5.
Oh,
5 successes.
oh no.
I'm a very
In
good
the
archer.
heart, arrow to the heart. You're in an empty room. You have 5 minutes and torches.
Is there anything other than torches that's flammable?
I got my magic.
Like peat and stuff? Do they light the ends of them on fire?
Yeah, that's a good question.
7.
Yes, there are barrels of gunpowder.
Yep. I spread that the hell out.
Yep.
And get ready to burn this baby.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to suggest... No, I'm going to light it with a flaming arrow. I'm going to get you to light the end of my flaming arrow with magic, and I'm going to shoot it.
Teamwork.
And you do the slow motion walk out of the room, but maybe
the whole time, right?
Ignatius is like walking backwards to like
Staring at the
slow
inside.
motion backwards walk, and his eyes and through the tunnel of this door, the impact of the flame slams the steel door shut, just as you've seen the whole thing, and then the structure you're noticing is not doing all that well. So you're gonna have to roll a reflex check to see how fast you can get the hell out of there. Challenge level 3.
Ignatius gets 2 successes and destinies at 1 success.
Okay, Jeremy
I use my destiny every level.
Plus destiny.
trips over. Oh no, okay, and catches himself, especially with the help of Ignatius, and they clamber out as the tower of the castle crumbles in flames in the middle of the night on the eve of battle. And as the dawn of that battle, the sun rises, there's a dragon seen in the sky heading towards the castle. Roll a strength check, Evael, to see how this goes. I'm going to say challenge level 3.
Yeah, 3.
3.
Yep.
Jeez, look, Jen's just been pumping her strength up every level.
Had a feeling.
Okay, I'm going to roll for the barbarian army. In fact, I'm going to roll 2 dice. Give me red one. Red is city army. Purple is barbarian army. And city army gets no bonus because things have been skewed in your favor. Ooh.
We smashed
Purple's
them?
barbarian army.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So barbarian army, the conscripts, as you have started to gather, and this is one of the reasons you were most confident in heading into Tana's plan, is that it's mostly like sort of shopkeepers and noble people and everyone who could hold a sword, but not many people who could use one.
And the
but the barbarian army, the townspeople, they're still like villagers. They're not all like barbarians, but they've joined forces with forest robbers and some random, like even some, you see occasional trolls and like some fey creatures. They've all banded together to fight for the true piece of the kingdom that has been held away from them. And it's a slaughter. They brutally make their way through. They are a peace-wanting people, but they do carve their way straight through to the castle, and most of the city warriors, quote-unquote, are running away. Now it's time to roll for the dragon. I would have an opposing roll, but you guys got rid of the opposing roll. So this is a destiny roll for the dragon. Yeah, strength check how you're flying. So that was to get here. So strength check, challenge level. I'm going to say it's in combat, so challenge level 4.
You can do it, Avail.
What's it for?
4 successes.
4 successes. You successfully ride the dragon, who... 6.
It's moderately burny.
Moderately burny, pretty young, pretty fresh and new to battle, and I would say isn't as helpful as the common folk, which is quite poetic.
It looks cool.
That you didn't need a dragon to win the war. But the dragon's pretty freaking cool. And you blow some flames, and the biggest impact the dragon has is actually less about combat, more about morale. The banners of Lord Malthius are burning all up the castle, and Yvail lands on the dragon's back at the helm of the castle, looking over the battle, seeing Tana looking up hopefully with the tears in her eyes at the Yvail she always looked up to, nodding gratefully that you led them to victory. Meanwhile, Ignatius and Bart step out into the dawn of a new age for the town of Aramark, now reclaimed by the common folk and the creatures around it. That is the tale, the journey that we have been on. For season 1 of this rapid roleplay episode, because we still have 3 alive characters and a couple cool NPCs.
Yeah.
Speaking of cool NPCs, who would you guess was the patron?
There was a patron character.
There was a Patreon character.
It was Tana.
It was Tana.
Oh,
Yep.
good, yeah.
It was Tana.
It was the most. I didn't think about it because I didn't realize we had one, but it was the most like D&D character in a world that wasn't D&D. Like the idea of a half orc was very like, huh? But no, it was awesome. Tana was great and led the city to rebellion.
Tana was co-written with me by Tanya. So it's just one of those cool ways of how that's how that works, is the patron perk where you get to make an NPC. We sort of work together to fit that in the story, and that was a really fun way to like do a lot in a short period of time. Speaking of which, we do have to wrap it up, but I feel like that was a saga.
It was. You
good.
threw it. It was easier than playing a D&D campaign. You
so
threw
much
Ignatius
easier.
for Elite because I wasn't planning on going. I hope you guys realized after the 5 years in the arena, I was just like, no, he's killed so many people.
Oh,
like
yeah.
he went from being like the despondent archer boy to like, oh no, now I'm
I can
now
just kill
I'm
people.
deep. I just
Yeah.
kill people. I don't care.
Yeah.
Even my friend, you're my childhood friend. I've spent 5 years in the arena. You've been. I don't care. I'm an arena boy.
So you were given the motivation. It was like, here is the path to
You're gonna
use
get
your
yourself killed.
horrible skills.
Yeah.
You all play that very well. And just a reminder, this is Jeremy's second ever game. Your first was our amazing Fallout one shot.
was a good one.
And this time we've gone through a lot together.
Yeah.
We
so
went
much.
through in the time it takes most D&D groups to buy a new like jacket for one character. We've done like most of it.
You've all like seen some shit.
Yeah.
Like you're like literally like 12 years older than the start of our
Yeah.
session, barely over an hour ago, and ready to start. I feel like we could do another chapter in this at some
I
point.
really
just like
want that
smash
statue.
through.
Yeah, I
want-
completed my
Yeah.
goal.
Well, we've
You
got.
guys, yeah.
Well, and that where is the eternal flame? And
Maybe dragon folk will know.
Wait, we should do the. Hang on, let me find the. In the next episode of. What's this campaign called? the Rapid Roleplay Fire Bot something campaign. So let me know in the comments what the name of this campaign is. Actually, I will have picked it by the time the video comes out. It's a Rapid Roleplay. No, I won't have picked it. Because it's just going to be like, how fast can we roleplay? Rapid roleplay.
Rapid roleplay.
So you guys help me pick the name of the saga in the next season, because it'll be a whole season.
In one episode.
Will Bart get a statue? Will Evale lead a new military?
A bigger army.
Get a bigger army. There's a capital, people. This is just a city. I'm playing 2 epic songs at once. And will Ignatius find the eternal flame?
Or
All
die
will be
trying.
answered in the next episode of. Let me know in the comments. Meanwhile, subscribe for more fun with roleplay, minis, and all sorts of nerdy tabletop goodness. Support us on Patreon so we can do more of this fun, goofy stuff. And thank you for watching. Bye.
Guys.